What if the healthiest habit you've built over the years has secretly been working against you this whole time? Not because you made a terrible choice, not because you ignored the advice of doctors or nutritionists, but simply because no one ever told you the full story. You picked up almonds because you heard they were good for your heart. You added them to your morning routine because they felt like the smart, responsible thing to do. And in many ways, you were absolutely right. Almonds are extraordinary little powerhouses packed with nutrients that your body genuinely needs. But here's what almost nobody talks about, and what the health world rarely gets around to explaining clearly. It's not just about what you eat, it's about what you eat it with. Because depending on what you pair your almonds with, those same nuts that are supposed to protect your heart might actually be quietly draining your energy, blocking your nutrients, and stressing organs you can't afford to strain. This isn't a scare tactic. This isn't someone trying to take away your favorite snack or turn a simple habit into something complicated and overwhelming. The truth is actually the opposite of complicated. Once you understand what's happening inside your body when certain foods collide, everything becomes clearer, simpler, and surprisingly easy to fix. The changes that can protect you aren't dramatic. They don't require a complete diet overhaul or expensive supplements or hours of meal planning. They require timing. They require awareness, and they require knowing the 10 combinations that seniors, in particular, should never pair with almonds. So before you reach for your next handful, before you drop them into your morning smoothie or set them beside your coffee cup, stay with me, because what you're about to learn could genuinely change the way your body feels every single day. Let's start by understanding why almonds are such a complex food in the first place. On the surface, they seem straightforward. Eat a handful, feel good. But almonds are chemically active in ways that most people never consider. They contain natural compounds called phytates, oxalates, and tannins. These aren't harmful by themselves. In fact, in the right context, they serve protective purposes. But when almonds enter a digestive system alongside certain other foods, those compounds start interacting in ways that your body didn't sign up for. They bind to minerals, they compete for enzymes, they slow down digestion or speed it up at the wrong time. And for older adults, whose digestive systems are already working with less stomach acid, slower metabolism, and more sensitive organ function than they had 20 years ago, these interactions carry real consequences. The good news is that understanding them takes less time than you'd think, and the solutions are almost always as simple as shifting when you eat something rather than whether you eat it at all. Now let's talk about the first combination that catches so many people off guard, and it's one that sounds completely harmless on the surface: almonds and eggs. For a lot of seniors, this is the gold standard of a healthy morning. A couple of boiled eggs, a small handful of almonds, maybe some fruit on the side. It feels balanced, it feels smart, and both foods genuinely are excellent sources of nutrition. But when you put them together in the same sitting, something frustrating happens inside your digestive system that quietly takes a toll over time. The problem is that eggs and almonds, while both protein-rich, require completely different conditions to be properly broken down. Egg protein thrives in an acidic digestive environment. Almond protein and the healthy fats that come with it prefer a more alkaline process. When both arrive in your stomach at the same time, your body essentially has to try to do two opposite things at once, and it can't do either of them well. What happens next is something many seniors already experience but rarely connect to this particular cause. Digestion slows significantly. Gas builds up. That familiar heaviness sets in after a meal that was supposed to make you feel energized. A study from the Journal of Gerontological Nutrition found that when older adults consumed mixed animal and plant proteins together, digestion slowed by up to 35% compared to meals where only one protein type was present. That's not a minor inconvenience. That's your body working twice as hard to extract half the benefit. And if you have any existing issues with your liver or gallbladder, even mild ones that haven't been formally diagnosed, the combination of egg fat and almond fat arriving together can increase bile production and leave you feeling heavy and slightly nauseating for hours after eating. Fried eggs make this even worse because cooking eggs in oil introduces oxidized cholesterol into the mix, a compound that becomes inflammatory when digestion is delayed and that can create low-grade oxidative stress in the liver. The fix is beautifully simple. You don't have to give up eggs, you don't have to give up almonds, you just have to stop eating them at the same time. Have your eggs in the morning with some whole grain toast or a piece of fruit, and save your almonds for a mid-morning snack 2 or 3 hours later. That gap gives your digestive enzymes time to finish one job before starting another. It lets your stomach return to a neutral state so it can approach each food on its own terms. Drink a full glass of water before your protein meals because hydration supports the enzyme production that older digestive systems sometimes struggle to maintain on their own. These aren't dramatic lifestyle changes. They're small, quiet adjustments that give your body the space to actually do what it's designed to do. And once you start making them consistently, the difference in how you feel after meals is often noticeable within just a few days. The second combination is one that might break some hearts because it describes the morning routine of millions of people around the world. Coffee and almonds, or tea and almonds. You wake up, you make your cup, you grab a small handful of nuts because you know they're good for you, and you sit down to start your day. It seems like the responsible, health-conscious thing to do. But here's what's actually happening while you sit there thinking you're doing your body a favor. Coffee and strong black tea contain natural compounds called tannins and polyphenols. These compounds are part of what makes those drinks beneficial in their own right, but they have a powerful and frustrating tendency to bind to minerals in your digestive tract, specifically the magnesium, calcium, and iron that almonds carry into your body. When that binding happens, those minerals don't get absorbed into your cells. They don't strengthen your bones or regulate your heart rhythm or support your red blood cells. They pass through your system as though they were never there at all. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that drinking coffee or black tea within 30 minutes of eating mineral-rich foods like almonds reduced calcium absorption by up to 45% and magnesium absorption by nearly 40% in older adults. Read that again slowly because it matters. Nearly half the calcium and 40% of the magnesium in your almonds gone because of the timing of your morning cup. For seniors who are already working to maintain bone density, prevent heart rhythm irregularities, and keep muscle cramps at bay, losing that much mineral absorption isn't just a nutritional inconvenience, it's a real and measurable setback. And caffeine adds another layer to this problem because it acts as a mild diuretic, meaning it speeds up urination and flushes minerals and fluids out of your body faster than usual. So not only are the tannins blocking absorption, but the caffeine is also accelerating the loss of what little does get through. Vitamin E, one of the star nutrients in almonds, gets disrupted by caffeine too. Vitamin E is the antioxidant that protects your arteries from oxidative damage, the kind of invisible wear and tear that builds up over decades and contributes to heart disease. When caffeine interferes with its absorption, you lose some of the very protection you were counting on those almonds to provide. And for seniors, this matters enormously because the cardiovascular benefits of almonds are one of the main reasons you're eating them in the first place. The solution is simple and costs you nothing. Wait at least 1 hour between your morning coffee or tea and your almond snack. Have your coffee with breakfast, enjoy your meal, and then let your body settle. When mid-morning arrives and your caffeine has mostly been processed, that's when you bring in the almonds. Your body will absorb their minerals fully, your arteries will receive their vitamin E, and your morning ritual stays intact. You just shift it by 60 minutes. Now, the third combination might feel a real loss because it involves something most people genuinely enjoy: almonds and dark chocolate, or almonds and cacao. It's been marketed as the ultimate healthy indulgence. You've probably seen it in health stores, in smoothie recipes, in wellness blogs written by people who seem to know exactly what they're talking about. Dark chocolate is full of antioxidants, they say. Almonds are heart healthy, they say. Put them together and you have the perfect guilt-free treat. But the science tells a more complicated story, especially for seniors. Both almonds and dark chocolate are rich in oxalates. These are natural plant compounds that are completely harmless in small amounts and in isolation. But when two high oxalate foods meet in your digestive system at the same time, particularly in the quantities that people tend to eat when they're snacking, those oxalates bind to calcium and can form crystals inside your kidneys. Over time, this is exactly how kidney stones form. A study published in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that adults who regularly consumed multiple high oxalate foods together had a 35% higher risk of kidney stone formation compared to those who either ate those foods separately or kept their portions modest. For a senior who's already managing blood pressure medication, staying hydrated, or dealing with any kidney sensitivity at all, this is not the risk worth taking unnecessarily. And there's a second concern with this pairing that goes beyond the kidneys. Dark chocolate and cacao contain caffeine and theobromine, two natural stimulants that create a real physiological response in your cardiovascular system. When they arrive alongside almonds, which are high in magnesium and healthy fats, those stimulants can intensify their effect. For younger people, that might just feel like a pleasant energy boost. For seniors, particularly those taking heart medication or blood thinners, it can trigger heart palpitations, mild anxiety, or a temporary but uncomfortable spike in blood pressure. The simplest way to continue enjoying both of these foods is to stop thinking of them as a pair and start treating them as two separate pleasures you get to experience at different times of day. Almonds in the morning or midday, dark chocolate as an after-dinner treat. You don't need to give either one up, you just need to keep them apart. Keep your portions reasonable too. An ounce of almonds is about 20 nuts, and a small square of dark chocolate, something in the 70% cocoa or higher, is genuinely enough to satisfy a craving without flooding your kidneys with oxalates. Drink plenty of water throughout the day because hydration is one of the most effective ways to help your kidneys flush oxalates before they have a chance to cause problems. Small habits, real protection, no sacrifice required. The fourth pairing is one that sneaks up on people who are making what they genuinely believe to be elite nutritional choices. Almonds with sunflower seeds, chia seeds, or any combination of nuts and seeds eaten together in one sitting. Smoothies with multiple seeds and nut butters, granola mixes with almonds and chia together, trail mixes that feel like a health food store in a bag. These combinations look impressive, they read well on packaging, but for a senior's digestive system, they represent a kind of overload that the body was simply not designed to process all at once. Here's what's happening. Both almonds and seeds like chia and sunflower are dense with unsaturated fats. A handful of almonds brings roughly 15 grams of fat into your digestive system. Add a few tablespoons of chia or sunflower seeds, and you're adding another 8 to 10 grams on top of that. That's nearly half of the daily fat intake recommended for older adults, arriving in a single snack. And a digestive system that's already working with naturally declining enzyme production and stomach acid levels is going to struggle to break all of that down efficiently. A 2019 report from the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology showed that older adults who doubled up on high-fiber nuts and seeds in a single meal experienced up to 40% more digestive discomfort than those who spread them out throughout the day. That discomfort isn't just unpleasant in the moment, it's your body telling you that it's overwhelmed, that nutrients are being passed through rather than absorbed, that fiber is piling up in your intestines rather than moving smoothly through them. Chia seeds are particularly dramatic in this regard because they absorb up to 10 times their own weight in water and expand considerably once inside your stomach. Combined with the oils from almonds and sunflower seeds, this expansion can trap food in your digestive tract longer than it should be, increasing the risk of bloating, reflux, and that uncomfortable sensation of food just sitting there hours after you've eaten it. The solution here is a principle rather than a specific rule, and once you internalize it, it changes how you approach snacking entirely. Choose one at a time. Rotate your superfoods instead of stacking them. Almonds on Monday, chia seeds on Tuesday, sunflower seeds on Wednesday. This gives your digestive system the breathing room it needs to actually extract value from each food rather than being overwhelmed by all of them simultaneously. Drink water with and after your snacks to help fiber move as it's supposed to. And if you love the feeling of a complex, textured snack, try combining your seeds or nuts with something moisture-rich like fruit, which helps your body handle the fiber much more gracefully. The goal is to nourish your body intelligently, not to impress it with volume. The fifth combination feels almost culturally ingrained, which is part of what makes it so important to address. Almonds with wine or beer.
Think about every dinner party, every holiday gathering, every sophisticated evening where someone sets out a beautiful bowl of nuts alongside glasses of red wine. It's practically a tradition. And both foods carry genuine reputations for being heart-healthy, with red wine's resveratrol making headlines for years, and almonds' magnesium and healthy fats earning well-deserved respect from nutritionists. But the way your liver experiences this combination tells a completely different story. Your liver is working constantly, performing hundreds of metabolic functions at any given moment. When alcohol arrives, your liver's first priority is to neutralize it. It converts alcohol into acetaldehyde, a genuinely toxic compound, and then works to break that down into something harmless that can be safely eliminated from your body. That process requires energy and specific nutrients, including magnesium, zinc, and B vitamins. Many of those nutrients happen to be the same ones your body is trying to extract from the almonds you're eating at the same time. So not only is your liver handling two major metabolic tasks simultaneously, it's competing with itself for the resources it needs to do both properly. A 2020 study in the World Journal of Hepatology found that people who regularly consumed alcohol with high-fat foods, even the healthy fats found in nuts, had elevated liver enzyme levels and higher oxidative stress markers, particularly in older adults. Elevated liver enzymes are your body's way of flagging that something is under strain, and oxidative stress in the liver, accumulated gradually over time, contributes to fatigue, sluggish digestion, and a reduced ability to detoxify the chemicals you encounter every single day from food, air, and medication. There's also a direct cardiovascular concern with this combination that deserves its own attention. Red wine contains resveratrol, which dilates blood vessels. Almonds are rich in magnesium, which relaxes muscles, including the heart muscle and arterial walls. When those two effects arrive together, the combined relaxation can cause an excessive drop in blood pressure or a temporary irregularity in heart rhythm. For younger adults, this might just feel like a pleasant, warm looseness. For seniors, particularly taking blood pressure medications or blood thinners, this interaction can become genuinely uncomfortable or even concerning. Add in the effect that alcohol has on the valve between the esophagus and stomach, relaxing it and allowing acid to back up, combined with the fat from almonds slowing digestion, and you have a recipe for serious acid reflux that can keep you awake and uncomfortable for hours. The clearest advice here is simple. If you're drinking wine, skip the almonds. Choose lighter snacks that don't require your liver to multitask. Give your body the gift of letting each of these pleasures stand alone. The sixth pairing is one that sounds so nutritionally sound that it almost feels wrong to question it. Orange juice and almonds. You're getting your vitamin C, you're getting your healthy fats, you're starting the day with natural energy. What could possibly be the problem? The problem is pH, and while that might sound like chemistry class, the practical reality of it is very simple. Orange juice, like all citrus, is highly acidic. Its pH sits somewhere between 3 and 4, which is genuinely quite harsh. Almonds, being fat and protein-rich, require a more alkaline environment to be properly digested. When these two opposing digestive demands arrive in your stomach at the same time, your digestive system tries to accommodate both simultaneously, producing acid for the citrus while also trying to produce the bile and enzymes needed for the fat. The result is that it does neither particularly well, and digestion slows dramatically as a consequence.
A 2018 study in the American Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology found that mixing acidic fruits with high-fat foods slowed digestion by up to 40% and significantly increased acid reflux symptoms in adults over 55. For seniors who already have lower baseline stomach acid levels or who take proton pump inhibitors or other acid-reducing medications, this kind of digestive stress is amplified. The vitamin C in your orange juice also creates an unexpected problem. When it contacts the tannins and phytates in almonds, it interferes with mineral absorption, reducing your body's ability to take up calcium, zinc, and magnesium. So you end up with delayed digestion, increased reflux risk, and reduced mineral benefit from the almonds you were counting on. There's even an oral health angle that most people completely overlook. Orange juice is acidic enough to temporarily soften tooth enamel. When you follow that immediately by eating something crunchy and abrasive like almonds, you risk creating micro-scratches on that softened enamel that can cause long-term sensitivity and wear. Protecting yourself here doesn't require you to give up orange juice or almonds. It requires you to give your mouth and your digestive system about 30 to 45 minutes between them. Drink your juice first, rinse your mouth with water to neutralize the acid, and then wait before reaching for your almonds. Or flip the sequence entirely. Have your almonds mid-morning and enjoy your juice at lunch. These aren't restrictions, they're small acts of care that let each food do its job without creating conflict inside your body. And once you feel the difference, the absence of that bloated, heavy feeling after breakfast, you won't want to go back. The seventh combination trips up some of the most health-conscious seniors precisely because it sounds so virtuous. Almonds with beans, lentils, or chickpeas. You've built a beautiful plant-based salad or a protein-rich lentil bowl, and you've sprinkled almonds on top for crunch and additional nutrition. It's the kind of meal that looks like it belongs in a wellness magazine. But inside your digestive system, both of these foods are bringing anti-nutrients to the table, and those anti-nutrients are competing for the same digestive resources in ways that leave you feeling worse, not better, after eating. Almonds carry phytic acid and tannins. Legumes like beans, lentils, and chickpeas carry lectins and oligosaccharides. All of these compounds require specific enzymes and significant digestive effort to break down. When they arrive together, especially in a gut that's naturally slowing with age, the result is fermentation in the intestines, which is the precise mechanism behind gas, bloating, cramping, and that swollen, uncomfortable feeling in your abdomen that you might have been attributing to something else entirely. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutrition and Digestive Health found that adults over 60 who regularly combined high-fiber nuts and legumes in a single meal reported 35% more bloating and discomfort than those who separated them by at least a few hours. The enzyme capacity of the aging gut naturally declines, which means it has less tolerance for multiple demanding foods arriving simultaneously. There's also a significant mineral absorption concern. Both almonds and legumes contain phytates, and when both are present together, their phytate content essentially doubles. Phytates bind to iron, zinc, and calcium in the digestive tract, forming compounds that your body cannot absorb. For seniors who may already be managing low iron, weakened bone density, or early signs of zinc deficiency, this doubling of mineral-blocking compounds is a meaningful setback. You're eating nutritious food and walking away with less than half of its nutritional value. The beautiful workaround is one you can implement starting with your very next meal. If you're having a legume-based lunch today, save your almonds for an afternoon snack. If you want crunch in your salad, try pumpkin or flax seeds instead, which carry fewer phytates and are gentler when eaten alongside legumes. Soak your beans or lentils for 8 to 12 hours before cooking them, which research shows can reduce their lectin and oligosaccharide content by up to 70%, making them dramatically easier on your digestive system. Drink herbal tea or water after your meals to help fiber move properly and prevent the fermentation that causes discomfort. You're not eating less, you're eating smarter, and the difference your gut will feel is remarkable. The eighth combination is particularly relevant for seniors who have embraced fresh juicing as part of their health routine. Almonds with carrot juice or beet juice. These juices have earned their reputations honestly. Beet juice is extraordinary for circulation and blood pressure. Carrot juice provides beta-carotene and supports vision and immune function. But when you pair them with almonds, something metabolically confusing happens that can work against exactly what you're trying to achieve. Carrots and beets contain natural sugars that digest and enter your bloodstream very quickly. Almonds, high in fats and proteins, move through your system much more slowly. When they arrive together, the fat from the almonds slows the emptying of your stomach, which keeps the natural sugars from the juice circulating in your bloodstream for longer than intended. Instead of a clean, efficient energy boost, you get a prolonged blood sugar elevation followed by the kind of sluggish crash that makes you feel tired and foggy an hour or two after what seemed like a perfectly healthy breakfast. A 2020 study in the Journal of Nutritional Metabolism found that adults over 60 who combined high-fat foods with natural fruit or vegetable juices experienced blood sugar spikes 25 to 30% higher than those who consumed those foods separately. Over time, this pattern of spiking and crashing contributes to insulin resistance, unwanted weight gain, and the kind of persistent afternoon fatigue that many seniors accept as simply part of getting older, when it's actually a direct consequence of how they're combining their foods. There's also a nutrient efficiency problem. The fat content in almonds slows the absorption of beta-carotene from carrots and nitrates from beets, two of the primary compounds you were drinking that juice to obtain. So not only are you creating a blood sugar disruption, you're also reducing the return on the most valuable nutrients in your drink. The simple correction is to separate them by 45 to 60 minutes. Drink your beet or carrot juice first thing in the morning when your digestive system is fresh and your blood sugar is at its baseline, and introduce your almonds later once your body has processed that initial burst of natural sugar. If you absolutely want to combine them in one sitting, blend the juice with leafy greens or oatmeal to slow the sugar absorption naturally and create a more stable metabolic response. Keep your juice portion to about 4 ounces, which is enough to get the circulatory and cardiovascular benefit without overwhelming your blood sugar regulation. Your energy will stay steadier, your digestion will feel lighter, and you'll actually absorb more of what you're drinking. The 9th combination gets overlooked especially often because both foods are celebrated together constantly in plant-based nutrition circles: almonds and soy. Soy milk in your almond butter smoothie, tofu salad topped with sliced almonds, almond milk blended with soy protein powder. These feel like the pinnacle of clean, conscious eating, but for seniors, the chemistry of what happens when almonds and soy combine in your body is worth understanding carefully before you make this a daily habit. Both almonds and soy are high in phytates and oxalates. We've already seen how phytates block mineral absorption. The concern here is that when two high phytate foods combine, their mineral blocking effect doesn't just add together, it compounds. A 2021 study published in the American Journal of Nutrition and Aging found that adults over 60 who regularly combined soy-based products with high phytate foods like almonds had 20 to 30% lower mineral absorption rates for calcium and magnesium, two nutrients that are absolutely essential for maintaining bone strength and regulating heart rhythm. Soy brings an additional consideration that doesn't come with most other foods. It contains isoflavones, which are plant-based compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. In appropriate amounts, these can be genuinely beneficial, particularly for women managing postmenopausal changes. But almonds also contain phytoestrogens, and when the two are combined regularly and in significant quantities, the cumulative effect on hormone balance can become disruptive over time. For some seniors, this manifests as unexplained fatigue, mild mood shifts, or fluid retention, particularly if thyroid function or hormone levels are already fluctuating. And both foods contain enzyme inhibitors that slow protein digestion, meaning that when eaten together, your gut has to work significantly harder to process the protein from either source, often resulting in gas, bloating, and a general sense of heaviness that lingers well into the afternoon. Navigating this one is straightforward once you understand it. Simply don't put soy and almonds in the same meal. If soy milk goes in your morning coffee or cereal, save your almonds for midday. If tofu is on your lunch plate, your almond snack belongs in the late afternoon. Choosing fermented soy products like tempeh, miso, or natto is a smart long-term strategy because fermentation breaks down a significant portion of the phytates and enzyme inhibitors, making these forms of soy much gentler and more nutritionally efficient than tofu or soy milk. Soaking or roasting your almonds before eating them can also reduce their phytate content by 30 to 40%, meaningfully improving the mineral absorption you get from them. These aren't complicated changes. They're small, informed choices that compound into dramatically better health over months and years. The 10th and final combination on this list might be the one that surprises people the most because it shows up on every cheese board, every cocktail party platter, and every sophisticated snack spread imaginable: almonds and cheese, or almonds with dairy products in general. Both are calcium-rich, both feel satisfying, nutrient-dense choices, and there's nothing inherently wrong with either one in isolation. But when your digestive system has to process both simultaneously, particularly the very different types of fat they each bring to the table, the results can undermine the very benefits you were hoping to gain. Almonds contain primarily monounsaturated fats, the kind that actively support cardiovascular health and help manage cholesterol. Cheese contains saturated fats and animal proteins that break down through an entirely different metabolic process and move through your system much slower. When both arrive together, your stomach has to produce elevated amounts of both acid and bile to manage two dense fat sources at once. For older digestive systems, this is simply more work than the body handles gracefully. A 2020 study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition and Metabolism found that combining plant-based fats from almonds with animal-based fats from cheese slowed digestion by up to 45% and temporarily elevated LDL cholesterol in older participants. That's a remarkable finding, given that almonds are specifically valued for their cholesterol-lowering properties. When paired with cheese, some of that heart protective benefit is effectively canceled out. There's also a calcium absorption paradox at work. Both foods are marketed as calcium-rich, and both genuinely do contain calcium. But the high saturated fat content of cheese can bind to calcium in the digestive tract, forming insoluble compounds that simply pass through without being absorbed. So you're not getting the full bone-strengthening benefit from either food when you eat them together. And for seniors who are lactose intolerant, even mildly, this combination can be particularly harsh because the dairy produces gas and acidity while the almond fiber traps that gas and prevents comfortable movement through the intestines. The straightforward solution is to separate them by at least 2 hours. Enjoy cheese as a midday snack with fruit or vegetables that complement its acidity and support digestion. Save your almonds for later in the afternoon. If you want to keep dairy in your diet, gravitating towards low-fat Greek yogurt or kefir rather than hard, aged cheeses is a meaningful upgrade because these options are easier to digest, lower in saturated fat, and contain probiotics that actively support the gut health you're trying to maintain. Adding berries or leafy greens alongside any dairy helps balance the fat content and promotes the kind of smooth, efficient digestion that keeps your gut microbiome happy and your cholesterol in a healthy range. Here's what ties all of this together, and it's the insight that makes everything you've just learned feel manageable rather than overwhelming. None of these combinations require you to give up the foods you love. They require you to give those foods the respect of eating them at the right time with the right companions in amounts your body can genuinely use. Almonds are extraordinary. They protect your heart, support your memory, strengthen your bones, and provide steady, clean energy when consumed thoughtfully. The 10 foods that cause problems when paired with almonds: eggs, coffee, dark chocolate, mixed seeds, alcohol, citrus juice, legumes, vegetable juice, soy, and dairy are all nutritious in their own right. The problem isn't the foods themselves. The problem is the collision that happens when you combine them without awareness. The principle that runs through every single one of these pairings is the same. Your digestive system has limits. Those limits become more pronounced with age, not because something has gone wrong, but because the natural, inevitable shifts in stomach acid production, enzyme availability, gut microbiome composition, and metabolic speed that come with getting older require you to be a little more strategic than you needed to be at 35. Working with those changes rather than against them isn't a compromise. It's actually the smartest, most effective nutritional decision you can make. Because the goal was never to eat the most impressive sounding combinations. The goal was always to nourish yourself fully and feel genuinely well. So, here's the simple rule you can carry with you from today forward. Enjoy your almonds alone or pair them with light, neutral foods like fresh fruit, plain oatmeal, or a small portion of Greek yogurt. Give them space from caffeine. Give them space from alcohol. Give them space from heavy proteins and anti-nutrients.
Drink enough water throughout your day to support the fiber and fat your body is processing, and trust that small, consistent shifts in timing and pairing will produce better results over months and years than any dramatic dietary overhaul ever could. Your heart will be stronger, your digestion will be smoother, your energy will be more stable, and your almonds, those remarkable little nuts you've been eating all along, will finally be able to do everything they were always capable of doing.